Jack likes to steal Fred from me in the evenings with his podcasts. So
I would say. Okay, now we got to an argument.
My parallel parking skills are definitely better. One time I had to take over. I need to tell this to someone. Jokes are so bad, like these typical dad jokes, and sometimes they are so bad.
To be honest, I'm not really like jealous of the Norwegians. Always need to come back home. Come back to Zsanna.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another Daily Try podcast episode. Today I am so lucky to have Frederic Funk and Zsanna Filep. Thank you both so much for coming on and doing a very different type of podcast video episode. I don't think I've seen so many of these out here, and I thought it would be fun. So I had my girlfriend help me out with some questions the last couple of days. So thank you guys so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Travis, for having us. And I'm quite experienced already in the podcast game, I would say. I literally have like podcasts every few weeks. For Zsanna, it's the first ever podcast. I just found out before the recording. It's gonna be great to share that with her.
Yeah, I'm definitely a rookie in this, but I will manage.
Love it. Well, tell us where I'm talking to you from. I believe you just moved.
We just moved to a new place. We actually even moved to a new or different country to Austria from Germany, but right at the border. So Germany is still just like 2 minutes away from here. And the town is called Kufstein. It's a pretty small town in the Alps. In Austria, and we're here now. We're living here now for 2 weeks, I think, and we really love the town. The training conditions for me are just really perfect, and looking forward to spend a lot of time here.
And as everyone thinks, we did not move here because of the taxes. So as everyone knows, the taxes are definitely better for Fred. But because I got accepted for a master study program. So actually this was our main driving force, choosing Kufstein. But of course, we definitely did some research before I applied anywhere. And this place was just, I think this had to be.
Well, I met you, Zsanna, at Challenge Roth, where you and Sophie were making me do some embarrassing things for social media. So I still hold that against you. But yeah, we had a blast together. And then right at the end, that's when I found out you were engaged to Freddie. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, I first, though, heard about you from Fred's YouTube video where he was supporting you doing Challenge Roth. I'd love to know a little bit more about you, and I'm sure the audience would as well. So if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into triathlon, and then I think we should dive into how you two met.
So I was always a triathlete. I come from Hungary, a very small town, but very known. It's Tiszaújváros, where I was an athlete since I was 5 years old because my dad was a coach, still a coach for kids. And then basically I was born and raised in sport. Didn't really know anything else. Tried, I think, dancing at some point, which didn't work out. But I didn't really have a choice. I was just surrounded by athletes and always loved the sport. But I got introduced to longer distances after I met Fred. He was the one supporting this idea, starting with the Olympic distance. And I ended up doing Roth, which was a very brave decision. And I met you this year as I was working there in a bit different role, which was amazing. And trust me, your video was really loved.
Oh, cool. Well, I mean, the new master's program you've started sounds perfect for you. And I think you were a little undecided when I was talking to you there in Roth. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's a sport, event, and culture management program. I'm more interested about sports and event management part of it, as we were doing event management in Roth, or more like community management. But it's definitely something more sports related. I was doing marketing bachelor's before in Nuremberg, Germany. Mm-hmm. So I'm just happy to start it in October and see where it takes me.
Love it. That's exciting. All right, Freddie, your turn now. How did you two meet? Tell us about that story.
She, as she already said, she's from famous Tizzy. I mean, if there are any short distance guys listening, there's a famous Tizzy World Cup, probably one of the most prestigious World Cups on the short distance circuit. And I was racing there as a junior. I was doing the Junior European Cup, and then I like got to know Zsanna there, and we stayed in contact after that. And after a while, I decided to book a plane ticket and fly over to Hungary to meet her again. And and from there things just started to get going, and now we are together for almost 8 years, and engaged since last year.
And for the listeners, we did not meet on the after party.
Oh yeah.
As everyone thinks, famous is the after party, but no, it was a little bit different circumstance, but yeah, definitely there.
All right, Zsanna, what were your first impressions of Freddie when you met him?
I did not know him before. I spotted him. He was taking a picture with the German team under the finish line. And I was like, I just looked at them and I saw this boy in the middle. And then I saw the picture on Instagram. And then back then, Snapchat was super cool. And we were also very young. So I added him on Snapchat. And then eventually, a month later, we reconnected via a dog picture, like a picture of a dog Fred sent me, which I responded to, and then things just started from there. We clicked quite quick as well. So actually it was more like I spotted him first.
All right. Fred, what about you? What about Zsanna? First impressions?
We were young for sure. I mean, I was 18. I think Zsanna is 1 year younger than me, and obviously you're in love like straight away, so it wasn't really a question for me to book a plane ticket. I didn't really have money back then, actually. Like, didn't earn any money with the sport or anything. I basically took all my money to book a plane ticket to see her for a week in Hungary. And but I'd say we were and had the pink glasses on. But as it seems now, it definitely worked out pretty well.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, Fred, can you take us through then how, from that age about to getting to where you are at now, your triathlon career, maybe summed up real quick, because you are at the highest level now and everybody talks about you before the races. And you're on the biggest podcast in the world talking about all the dynamics of the racing. So everybody knows you now. Hey.
My triathlon career definitely came a long way as well next to our relationship. I think a year after I met Zsanna, I became a German junior champion, and had good success in my last junior year. Was also at the World Championship in Cozumel in Mexico, and definitely had the dream yet to get to the Olympic Games. Then had 2017 where I was like racing short distance in the elite, but didn't really get any good results there. So I also tried to do some like non-drafting races next to like most Olympic distance in Germany. We have quite some traditional races there with sometimes really big names as well. And that was always much more successful for me, as I'm obviously a good cyclist and could never really play out my bike strengths really on the short distance. But on the non-drafting races was always working out pretty well. And obviously when you have success, it's also more fun and more motivating. You're starting to do more of it. And then 2018, I was also doing my first ever half distance challenge regione, and immediately got onto the podium. And then I did 3 more half distances that year. Ended up on the podium on all of them. And in 2019, I was still doing some Bundesliga racing, but was mostly already focused on the middle distance racing. And from there, I just got better and better. And now, racing PTO World Championship. But still trying to get a really, really, really good result on the very big stage.
You've got quite a few so far, but we'll dive into that. a little bit later on. Zsanna, what was that like for you watching, Freddie progress and going through that with him and during all your studies as well? And yeah, how do you guys support each other? I'm really interested to hear that.
It was very interesting because when Fred started to get better, I decided, or maybe was forced, like not to continue the sport on a high level. I simply wasn't good enough. So it was really difficult to take for me mentally. But that was when I decided to then study in Germany or try to get to Germany. And then we can move together and support each other. We were already then 4 years together. So it was already like Fred's career started to bloom. And I think it was always very easy for me because I always had the athlete mindset. So I could understand that he is away for long periods, that he can't see me, that he's busy. We never had issues with that. And I am also very good at focusing on myself when I need to. I obviously love to support Fred, but my own career was also always important to me. And I think we both found a common ground there because when I have exams or had, I got the support from Fred I needed at home or just mentally. And I try to give back the same when he has races. Obviously, he has races way more than I have exams. But at the same time, it's just working perfectly since I am racing as an amateur and trying to take the sport more as a hobby. So I can be the one who's a bit looser or like more loose in the head at home and less stressed about the races.
Yeah, we saw an example of Fred supporting you as well at Challenge Roth. So it seems like you guys have a good dynamic. Can you take us inside a little bit about your relationship? Like, how does it work? We talked when we first joined on the call here that you guys aren't early morning people like myself. So how does it work? What does your good days kind of look like? And, who does the dishes?
Yeah, so of course, we don't share that much work at home than other couples. I do most of the cleaning. I think this is good that we have a dishwasher. We would be pretty lost without that dishwasher. So that we do both. Obviously, the extra dishes I do, and just the cleaning generally, washing up, etc. But he makes me coffee in the morning, which is a very important part of my morning. When he makes a coffee, I try to climb out of bed. I'm the one who sleeps longer, obviously. Or when he goes and does his training, comes back, then I'm still sleeping. It's also perfect. So I can sleep a bit longer. But it's still shared. He does my stuff for training. He prepares my bike and so that's good enough for me. I can do the rest at home, the housework.
That's handy.
No, I'm of course really grateful for the support Zsanna is giving me. Like next to all my training sessions, I also have a lot of time to actually recover, which is of course really important as a pro athlete. And it just wouldn't be possible with the same like life quality when Zsanna wouldn't do so much work for me around the house, of course. And then next to that, sometimes she's even still, when she has the time, even still manages to support me during my training sessions, like comes with me on my run, carries my water and stuff, something like that. But of course, really grateful. And then also on the races, I try to take her with me on as many races as possible. I mean, she wasn't with me in Milwaukee at the US Open, which was, I think, the only race for this season. But yeah, when I'm there without her, I was like, we feel a little bit lost.
I bet.
So and it actually didn't really manage yet to have like a good race when she wasn't with me. I have to be honest. I don't know if it's really because of that or maybe then something with my head as well. Of course,
I'm the lucky charm.
I'm happy to take her with me when she has the time. Of course, now when her master's program at university starts again, will be of course a bit more difficult, and sometimes have to learn to race on my own. Or get someone else to support me, like my manager who was with me in Milwaukee. Now she will be with me next week at the 70.3 World Championship in Finland. And so I'm not only looking forward to a good race weekend and race there, but also to spend a good time with Zsanna in a new country.
Yeah, it sounds like Jack Kelly he was the Zsanna's replacement at that event, so he might not be your your good luck charm, eh?
Oh yeah. Yeah, Jack was in my ass the whole weekend.
That's funny.
Yeah, Jack likes to steal Fred from me in the evenings with his podcasts. So
yeah, well, now he's not your good luck charm, so you might have to spend a little bit less time with Jack. Eh? Well, on that, can you take us through a little bit of the US Open? I briefly bumped into you there. We did a quick interview. Something just didn't quite go right, hey?
So first of all, it's obviously racing on the highest level in the sport, and it's just after the race, I just realized when you're not 100% focused on this race and peaking for it, you just won't be there at the front with the top guys. And I just came off altitude 1 week before, then traveled to Milwaukee with all the jet lag, coming off altitude and everything. I mean, I'm also in my head, I was just focused on the 713 Worlds now next week. And this race was never like the ultimate A race for me. Of course, still really important as you're racing the best in the world. But now after the race, I definitely realized that I have to prioritize these races more if I want to perform well. And in the end, I got a 13th place. And I had it was like a decent race, of definitely not my best performance. Had a really actually a good swim, a good bike as well, but then a really poor run. I would say a medium overall performance, and it only gives you 13th place when you're racing the best in the world. Of course, you want to do better than that.
Yeah.
And so for next year, definitely focus more when I'm racing the PTO, or I just don't race it at all if I can't focus on it. But yeah, I'm hoping that for next week, for the World Championship, where I'm really focused and where I'm really there, with my head and mentally prepared, I can really show my performance.
So was 70.3 Worlds always going to be your A race for this year? You had 5th place there last year.
I would say, like, if I had to choose between 71.3 Worlds, European Open, and US Open, like the 3 biggest races I raced this year, I would say 71.3 Worlds is still the biggest, as it's just like a World Championship title. It's not only big for me, but also really, really big for my sponsors. And maybe other than that, European Open was actually still quite important for me. But I also had some problems and a bad day there, which I also didn't prepare just well enough, but we didn't know it back then. It's just usually like it was my first race of the season, and it's also a thing, like these big races just can't be my first race of the season. I need something else. Was a bummer for me, sadly, but after that was definitely the full focus on 71.3 Worlds. Was actually wanted to do Singapore as well, but as I didn't want to take the double with Singapore and 71.3 Worlds the week after, I at least decided to do the US Open, to have the chance to do another PTO race. But from my head, I was never really focused on the US Open, at least not as focused as I am on the 71.3 Worlds next week.
So Zsanna, you're going with. Do you get nervous for these races? To me, like when we were in Roth, you were just so calm and collected. There's so much going on. You were running around. I think we all were like headless chicken, but you were calm. So do you get nervous? Do you keep Fred organized? How is that?
Yes, I think I'm more nervous than him. The thing in Roth was that he didn't race. The thing is, when Fred is racing, I'm usually nervous until he's on the run course, which is quite long, at least 2 hours in the race. Yeah, it's different. I know these nerves from me being an athlete myself, but it's just having this extra worry for your person, and seeing them going downhill in the rain with 80 kilometers per hour, like in challenge walks, is not the most confident feeling, even though I trust Fred's abilities 100%. Yeah, it's just, it's different. And I tend to be really nervous, but trying not to show it, at least not to Fred.
Love it. So how do you guys balance a relationship like this, where you have so much going on? And Zsanna, you also do triathlon, right? Still, even now, while doing your studies. How do you guys balance it?
Yeah, so it's definitely important that I bring Zsanna along for the races. So it's not only like as a support for me, but she is also like having her friends and connections there already, like with like athletes or the athletes partners as well. So she already knows everyone. Probably she knows more people running around than me, as she's like really open and always happy to meet everyone and meet like the triathlon community. So it's definitely important that we both of us and enjoy this lifestyle, even when it's like a bit in a different way. And for me it's my job, and I'm getting paid for it. But for Zsanna, it's not like first hand getting paid to support me to support me doing my job. I'm happy when she's like enjoying coming along, and obviously happy when I can afford to pay for her flights and hotel then.
Yeah, we obviously also live together already for like 4 years now, 3, 4. I can't even count anymore. I don't know. Quite some years. So everything is also shared at home, same way. And yeah, like as I'm still a student, I don't have a full-time job yet, but obviously this is also something that's good, because this is the reason why I can travel with Fred a bit more, why I can be there on a daily basis, so joined him for his training and help. Sometimes, of course, it's not easiest to remember that it's his job, because as just said, I am an athlete myself and not earning money with the sport. It's easy to forget that his recovery is also his job. So worst case, like I think that's where our worst arguments are coming from, which is also not too bad, because then we both realize, okay, I might be stressed and he might be tired, so that's it.
Or she might be hungry.
Oh.
Yeah, usually.
I know that.
I think that's a common issue in relationships. Being hungry, it's not the best mix when we are tired and I am hungry. But we tend to find a solution. And at this point, with Fred's career also, again, blooming, it's easier to see when the achievements are coming that it's actually his job. And I think I can understand it pretty well, or at least trying to understand it.
You know, for a lot of people watching and listening, or age groupers like myself, you know, it seems like, Fred, you know, you're living the dream life, and Zsanna, you know, you're in there in Austria too, traveling the world and, you know, racing, meeting all these amazing people. Is it like that? Is it like this dream life that you guys are living together? Can you maybe tell us about some of the sacrifices you have to make in order to be at this highest level, Freddie, and for you, Zsanna, as well?
So it is, and of course it is not, because what others see is not necessarily what we live in. We still, it's a lot of compromising. So especially from my side, I moved to Germany. I left my family and friends behind, which was a really difficult decision to have a better future, to move together with Fred. And I compromise a lot, I think. I like to compromise, but sometimes, of course, there are times when I feel like I compromise too much, or my friends thought I am compromising too much, but I always get it back. So maybe others can't see that I get it back somehow else. So for me, I feel like it was always my life, and I'm just happy to do it. And we have this wouldn't say we have a perfect life, but we have a pretty good one, yes. And we have so many things in common, especially from the sport, and I think that makes it just easier.
And yeah, as a professional triathlete, I mean, I would say probably 80% of the time, it's definitely like you're living the dream, and I mean, basically getting paid for getting out on a beautiful day, cycling around on beautiful roads in the Alps. Can't get any better than that. But yeah, there's still the other 20%, where you're either tired, it's shit weather outside, or just not motivated at all. And on these days, you have to remind yourself that it's still it's like a job, and you don't always have to love your job. And sometimes you just have to get the job done, literally.
And another thing I would add is also that because of Fred's job, it's often our time together is also compromised. So training can end late. Weekends are not weekends. Weekends are races. Races are jobs for both of us. Traveling is also super exhausting, and me being there for me is not a vacation. It's often really hard work as well, and the days leading up to that. But of course, Fred is always trying, at least after the race, to give me that one day or half a day of vacation to just go somewhere, see and enjoy. My favorite trip like that was actually Canada last year. The Canadian Open was just amazing. We stayed a couple of days. But that's definitely where we both compromise from a normal life compared to someone who's not in the sport.
So Fred, you mentioned that it was tough being apart from Zsanna there at the US Open. Zsanna, how is it for you, especially with Jack, by the way? But Zsanna, with you, is it hard? Like, for example, if Fred has to go on a training camp, do you do well by yourself? I know, for example, my girlfriend, sometimes when I went to Roth in the US Open, she was like, what the heck? Come on. So how is it for you?
Actually, the first days I love because Fred is away. I have time for myself. I can do whatever I want. The flat doesn't get messy. There are no dirty training clothes lying around or sweaty clothes, and don't have to wash that much. Obviously, I also love my own time. So I find, and I have friends, so I can spend some time with them. But it takes me 3 days, I think. And then I usually miss Fred, and I'm like, oh, you can come home. You can come home now. But I understand it. And he is there as well doing his job. He was 8 days in US, and we were moving in the time. So I was really busy here. I moved us in 7 days. So Fred could come home in a ready apartment from a completely, it was half furnished. So at least, but still with his parents, with the help of his parents, of course. But I keep myself busy and just do things which I maybe couldn't when Fred is around. But that's actually also not, because my life is just stays the same. I just do my own things, read a book or two instead of watching Netflix together in the evening. So it's not much different.
Fred, then on that, could you ever see a life where you were training like some of the other guys on the circuit, where it's just them? You know, what pops to mind, the Norwegian guys, where, you know, they're just 100% in on triathlon, no girlfriends, and, you know, or is this like, this is the dream for you, sharing it? Or do sometimes you're like, man, I wish I could squeeze in a few extra hours of training here and there, kind of thing?
To be honest, I'm not really like jealous of the Norwegians, for like, just traveling around the whole time and never being at home, or actually not even like having a home almost, or like maybe the home is already Sierra Nevada in the Spanish mountains and not Norway. But yeah, I just need this time at home. I just always need to come back home. Come back to Zsanna. It really helps me with my mental preparation as well. And I think it's important at least for me, it's important that my head is not on triathlon 24/7. I mean, it is already most of the time, of course, but so I'm grateful for the hours when it isn't, when I can just spend time with Zsanna, or our cat Kona, who's even named Kona. So
just another thing to add to try.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I'm not like Norwegians in that way. I also like to take time off after races, explore the places where I'm racing, recover from the race properly, maybe even have a few drinks and celebrate. Hope like the good races, and yeah, this for me is like somehow also why I do triathlon, like also for the lifestyle. And so yeah, I really also enjoy the time off.
All right, tell us about some of the other hobbies and passions you guys have, or maybe a passion you guys have together.
So for me, there's, to be honest, not much time for something else in my free time. Yeah, we just watch a lot of movies and Netflix together. Like yesterday, we were in the cinema, finally watching Oppenheimer. But yeah, other than that, yeah, for me, there's not much time. Or like in the winter, I do, or I like to do cross country skiing if it's possible.
That's also sports, Lily.
Yeah, but it's also like kind of a training as well. When I was a kid, I was, of course, as a German kid, I was playing football, and yeah, I definitely already wanted to be a professional athlete, but definitely not in triathlon, more in football. And yeah, Cristiano Ronaldo was my idol back then. So I was, of course, a Portugal and Manchester United fan back then. But yeah, it's like a German. I still had to support the German team, and as most of my family is from around Nuremberg, I was a fan of the FC Nuremberg in Germany.
All right, Zsanna, tell us about what else you get up to.
Actually, Fred forgot to mention that he loves GeoGuessr. So that's what he's doing in his free time. He's very passionate about it, in training camps at least.
Oh yeah, you've heard about GeoGuessr?
No, I haven't.
It's like basically this Google Street View game. So you get you're like on a spot somewhere in the world, and like Google Street View, and yeah, you can check the surroundings, walk around, and then basically you have to find out where you are at exactly just by like walking around.
Oh wow, I like it.
And
I'll have to give it a go.
Yeah, it's a pretty fun game, and yeah, I can, like, a few of my triathlon friends are playing it as well. So we are trying, like, going against each other, and it's funny how you're actually really progressing in the game. Like, you're finding out a few tricks where you can immediately realize in which country you are, or even in which city or part of the country you are, and sometimes you can, or often you even find the exact spot. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I can really recommend that game.
I'll be checking it out.
In Ibiza, Fred got pretty excited because he was like, "Oh, I was already on this street on GeoGuessr."
Oh no way! Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's like you can. It's another way to explore the world.
That's awesome. Cheaper.
Yeah.
Much cheaper.
So I have other hobbies. I was also always around sports. So when I was younger, I did a lot of roller skating. I think it was always some like kind of passion of mine. But when we were living in Germany, I didn't have the opportunity because we didn't really have those good roads around us. But I definitely have a new pair of roller skates and hopefully inline skates, exactly. And hopefully I can do some more here when Fred is going for his runs. That would be actually pretty fun. Other than that, I love reading. I always loved books, and just, yeah, I even have a Kindle. I just love that. That's it. at this point.
Fact or fiction? Well, probably fiction, hearing about your Twilight crush earlier.
Yeah.
Actually, all right, that's perfect, because that leads me into the hot questions. I think we can move on to that. The first one I had written down here is then, who is your celebrity crushes? And I wonder for Zsanna, who that is. It's someone in Twilight.
Yeah, actually, Robert Pattinson was for long one of mine, but he doesn't look that good anymore. And I was Team Edward, but Jacob, so Taylor Lautner actually looks better. So I wouldn't say they were my crushes. I was too young, I think, to actually develop that feeling. But I would say, he's in from Oppenheimer. He's the main character from Oppenheimer yesterday.
Oh, Cillian Murphy.
Oh yeah, sorry. I didn't remember. He's one, and well, Ryan Gosling is the other one. But I think that's most of my age.
Yeah, my girlfriend likes Paul Rudd. You know Paul Rudd? That's hers.
Yeah, he's good. He's good.
Okay. Ready?
Cool. It's tough. Maybe Zsanna knows it better than me. Like,
yeah, actually, Margot Robbie.
Oh yeah. But I haven't watched, or we haven't watched Barbie yet.
Yeah, we will.
That'll be interesting.
But yeah, Margot Robbie, or maybe like as a big Gossip Girl fan, Blake Lively. Yeah. Serena Vanderwoodson.
Oh, cool. All right. Okay, this one, a bit more serious. What do you guys think about that PTO tour next year going on? Zsanna, this one, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it as well, into sports management. I know you had some good opinions on things when we talked together at Challenge Roth.
So I really like the idea of how they want to develop, but I'm also a bit concerned because it's, again, a bit more about the middle distance and shorter distance, so excluding the long distance in this matter. I'm not sure how it will work out as well with the athletes wanting to race other races, but I'm not sure if they will be able to, or what's exactly the number of athletes they want to start with. And will everyone have the actual fair chance to start? I don't think so. And from this perspective, I'm not sure if it will work out the best, but I really appreciate the PTO's development, that they really tried to make such a big series out of it, that it could feel like World Triathlon. So also the longer distance athletes could feel like they are part of a World Series.
I like it.
So yeah, I also think the collaboration with World Triathlon and wanting to have like an official World Championship or World Champion title for both men and women is definitely really good, and a good upgrade for the sport and those races. Also, yeah, looking forward that there will be like maybe 7 PTO races, just like basically the WTCS series on short distance, just for the 100K distance. So that's really cool. But what I think will be an issue, and we will see it, probably depends how much the PTO is willing to pay for the athletes, is that they only want to have like 20 athletes for each of these races, and that it's always the same athletes for each race. So basically like in Formula One.
Yeah.
I mean, this is definitely something where the sport or this series could get eventually, but I think for the first 3 years it might be just better to I mean, it's okay to just have 20 athletes, but maybe just like whoever qualifies until a certain deadline before each race might be just easier as well for the PTO, because they don't have to sign the athletes to race the whole series, so they can still pay out just a lot of prize money, but also for the athletes, because they can just plan their season better, because I'm sure there will be athletes from the top guys who want to focus on Kona or Nice next year, and who also still have to qualify for it. So some athletes maybe have to do 2 long distance races next year, and then it's just not possible to combine it with this complete PTO series.
Yeah.
So they won't be able to sign a contract for 5 to 7 races, or how much they want to do. And then in the end, then like a few of the top guys are not racing, then but they still want to have like on every race the same people. Then just like always like a few of the top guys are missing, and then is the world championship title still the same worth? Like that's a question. So I think it's like the series and the collaboration with the World Triathlon is definitely good, but like wanting to sign the athletes for the series might be a step too far yet.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, and it makes it hard, especially like, for example, you can tell you love challenge races as well, and doing a local race, where I don't really know how to pronounce it, but like Valchasi, or however you say it.
Challenge Valchasi, yeah.
Sorry, like, I'm sure fans that come to watch you, Freddie, race there, so I think, that'd be hard if you weren't able to compete in that, if you were doing the PTO tour. But I think what's great with the PTO is that, they are open to change, and they'll probably learn and adapt as they need to. So, and they listen to you guys, it seems like, and they're changing up the Collins Cup because of that. And that's pretty cool. All right. So the Asian Open coming up this weekend. Can you guys give me a pick or two, or anything interesting from that race?
So yeah, like I definitely have FOMO for this race. So it's actually the first ever PTO race for me that I'm missing out. I even raced the PTO championship in Daytona in 2020. So I will have maybe like a hard time watching it on TV, but I know it's the right decision for me, of course. And yeah, it would be really interesting, not only because of the athletes racing and the race dynamics, but also the heat, which will play a massive role in Singapore, the heat and humidity. But yeah, now I think today Max Newman announced that he pulled out of the race. And yeah, the Christian Blumenfeld coming there right after the Paris test event, which is tomorrow. That's also gonna be interesting. So he's literally arriving the evening before the race. And then he's still racing the 30 World Championship next week. So that's quite something.
Wow.
So for the man, I think Zsanna is just searching for the start list.
It's hard to keep up with all the big races.
So we really don't miss anyone.
I would say at least from the women, I can say that maybe watch out for Lucy Charles, because she's coming back from an injury, as I just saw the news, and she's good. And I think she's really fired up now, because obviously she couldn't race the last couple of races. So I would say she can be quite an important person to look out for. And so I would say, I can see the start list now. So I will say my top 3 guesses. So I would say Lucy Charles for first, Anne Haug for second. It's hot. So, and Ashley Gently third.
Love it.
So yeah, I say this almost the same top 3 for the women, just a different order. So I say Anne Haug for first, Ashley Gentle for second, and then Lucy Charles for third.
And then for the man, I think Christian will be tired as well a bit. Hopefully not, but Sam Long is fired up right now by being a father, so that's pretty cool. But I think it's really difficult to tell. Oh my god. I would say Jason West will have another good race. I would tip him for second. I think he will be a runner-up. Then it's really difficult. I'm sorry.
It's tough.
I would say Christian third, and first, there we go, Ben Kanute.
I love it. Big Ben fan.
I say Christian performs on Paris Testament, but also in Singapore, and then next weekend when he's racing against me, he will be really tired. So I say Christian for first, Jason West for second, and Mika Noth, who's coming back from injury, for third, because he really prepared and focused for this race, because he didn't, because of his injury, he couldn't qualify for the 7.3 Worlds next week. So basically, this is his only shot in a big race this year. So he was really focused and preparing a long time in Phuket for it. And so I think he's in really good shape. And I'm also hoping that he's getting on third place, and Gustav Iden, because we just saw him on the start of the set as well. We completely forgot about him, but I don't think he will be there at the complete front. But hopefully, we'll get back to solid racing.
I think Gustav will do definitely better than he did in the rest of the races this year. Hopefully, he rested enough. I would say he will be top 5, and I also completely forgot about Mika, so I will tip Mika for 4th place.
I love it.
What's your tip? I also want to know yours.
I actually had the same picks as Freddie for the women. I think Jason will win on the men's side. I think, he's so scary good. And when I talked to him after the US Open, he was like, I'm ready to go one step further. And, he had that mechanical issue. And then, I think Sam is going to podium, and also Ben Canute. So I think I'm going all American. How crazy would that be?
Okay.
So biased here.
I mean, they're good.
All right. Last hot question then. I think you touched on it earlier. Biggest argument in the house. Ours is definitely dishes here. So
that's a good question.
Yeah. What comes up often?
For my side, maybe it's not the same for both of us. So for me, the thing that can really piss me off is when I ask Fred to do something, and then he's moving like a snail. A couple of days ago, I even found a mail for that when I asked my boyfriend to do something. He's just like, his recovery is very important, so he doesn't do it. And then I give up and I do it myself. So for me, that's something that pisses me off, or leads us into an argument, you're doing nothing. And then for me, probably that. The dishes, I don't know, because we don't have so much because of the dishwasher. I'm like, okay, I wash the rest, or he does. Or what's for you?
It's a tough question. I wouldn't even say, or at least from my side, that I wouldn't even say we have big arguments. It's more sometimes just maybe pissing each other a bit off, but then a few moments later everything's fine. But it's maybe an argument for Zsanna, but for me it's usually not. But it's
really tough, because I'm trying to stay angry, but I can't. We got to this point in our relationship where we are arguing, and then eventually I just go away, and then I realize I am somewhat stupid in this argument, or he's, and then I cross him in the living room or something, and I start laughing, and then can't really hold a grudge, even though sometimes I would really like to. So he does something, but no, it's not really an argument anyway. It's something just can maybe come on my nerves. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. It's similar for us, and I can relate, Freddie, to not doing things quickly and getting yelled at. So right there with you.
Yeah. Kudos to your girlfriend as well for doing it. Kudos to your girlfriend for doing it.
Yeah.
I know the feeling.
You two would get along well, let me tell you. All right, let's do some rapid fire to end it up. Thank you guys so much for your time. All right. And now for doing this, I want you to either point at yourself or point at the other person. Okay. Pretty simple. All right.
I like it.
Okay. Yeah.
Best cook. Oh, that's an hesitation.
I would say, so I would say, okay, now we got to an argument. I would say Zsanna is definitely cooking more often, and she's cooking well, of course. But I would say, I'm competitive, so I would say if I cook, then I'm cooking very good and maybe better.
Yeah, but the thing is, he's cooking the easy dishes, like he's not doing anything difficult. So obviously,
Yeah, but the easy dishes for perfection.
The best ramen you've ever had.
Okay. Here's the first disagreement. Yeah, go on.
All right. Who is the most clean? Zsanna. All right.
Yeah, that's easy.
Who's the least punctual?
Yeah.
All right.
Actually, I am quite punctual when I go out with others, but if it's spread, no chance.
Who's more chill? Who can lay back easier?
That one went to Freddie.
All right, who's funniest? You guys have both been cracking me up this whole time. Who is funnier?
Oh, I mean, it's like depends how you define funny. Zsanna probably sometimes hates my jokes.
Yeah, it will be really hard to admit, but he's the funniest.
I find myself pretty funny.
Yeah,
that says everything.
His jokes are so bad, like these typical dad jokes, and sometimes they are so bad that you just laugh because they are so bad, and all of them, and he does them all day, every day. He turns out all my words. So yeah, I mean, in this way, he's the funnier, and I'm also funny.
Yes,
Yeah.
God, I have to admit that.
All right, who's the biggest money spender? All right.
Sometimes
yeah, that's me.
Wow. It's the opposite in my house. Who is the best driver?
That's a hard one, but he drives more when we go to races. So I take over when he is tired, but I drive well as well. But he also gets some more speeding tickets. So
Oh, okay, that evens it out a bit.
my parking skills are better. My parallel parking skills are definitely better. One time I had to take over. I need to tell this to someone.
Oh, there we go. Freddie, you've been caught out. All right, who's the last one? Who's the better singer?
And I'm not a good one. So that's really bad. Yeah.
I hope we don't have to do a competition,
I'll save us from it by the sounds of it, Freddie. Okay. All right. Last couple questions I always ask to everybody. If you could race a race and suffer with GI issues or terrible chafing, which one would it be?
I'm choosing the terrible chafing because as a girl, I experienced that, so it's fine.
All right.
Yeah, definitely the chafing. GI issues is my nightmare for every race. But chafing, I mean, often you don't even feel it during the race, just after.
I'm talking about terrible chafing now.
Yeah, okay, but it's
he doesn't know that. He doesn't know that he's.
It's still better pain than GI issues.
I think so too. And what will you choose?
I think I do with GI issues. I can have a strong stomach, but if it's terrible chafing, that's tough. Cool. Awesome. And then last one, if you guys could be in a sprint finish for a triathlon race, would you rather that, or would you rather dominate the race from the beginning? No worries. You
dominate the race from the beginning.
okay? PTO World Championship finale next year. You rather dominate it or sprint finish?
So, and I win in both cases, so I will win the sprint finish.
Yeah.
Then definitely the sprint finish.
I think I know the answer for this, why we chose different, because you already experienced how to dominate the race. So when you know that, it's easy. Because like, oh yeah, I won the sprint finish. It's a way. You might feel it's a bigger achievement because you fought so hard until the end, but I would like to experience also the other one. So
very cool. Well, thank you guys so much for your time. Everybody listening or watching, please go follow both of these two. They'll be linked in the description down below. And I really hope we see both of you more on YouTube. I miss seeing those videos often. And yeah, just can't wait to see how you do, Freddie, at 70.3 Worlds. And Zsanna, best of luck starting your master's program. Also excited to hear about that. And hopefully we get to work again next year in Roth. That would be so cool.
Oh, definitely we will meet somewhere, I'm sure.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you very much for having us.
Thank you. Yeah.
I thought it was great. I thought it was something different, and we had a lot of laughs. So thanks for your time.